Hi, I'm Adolph Oliver, and in this lesson we're going to talk about translating words into equations. The key to doing this is to figure out where the equal sign goes in the wording that you have. And what you do is you look for a word or a group of words that can be replaced by the word equals without changing the meaning. Once you've done this, this tells you exactly where the equal sign goes. Well, common words that can be replaced are is and, of course, is equal to. In many equations, if you replace is with equals, the wording means exactly the same, and of course is equal to is a dead giveaway that that's the spot. Now, once you've established where the equal sign is, now what you do is just translate what is on either side of the equals as separate expressions. And of course we know that an equation is made by two expressions hooked to each other with that equal sign. Well, let's look at some examples so you can see what's going on. This is not difficult to do. Here's our first one. N increased by 12 is equal to 8. Well, we could take this wording right here, is equal to, and just replace it with equals if we wanted. And we could read this as n increased by 12 equals 8, and it means exactly the same thing. So we know then that right here is where the equal sign goes in our equation. What's to the right of that? Well, what was to the right of the equals here? 8. What is to the left? N increased by 12. Well, increased by 12 means that we have to add the 12 to the n. So how do we do that? Well, we just take n and add 12 to it, and that's what's on the left side. Now, for the time being, we're not solving any of these equations. They're real simple things. But what we're doing here is we're getting practice in being able to take words and translate them to the equations, and then we'll work on solving them later on. Okay, here's our next stop. 9 more than q is equal to, and here again, we say that same group of words is equal to, could just be replaced with equals. And if we read this in as 7 more than q equals 26, that means exactly the same thing. So, once again, this tells us where the equal sign goes. What's to the right of our word equals? 26. Well, that's to the right of the equal sign. What's to the left of our word equals? 7 more than q. Well, more means we're adding it. And what are we adding? The 7. So you could take and add 7 to q. The thing, of course, is addition works either way. I could write q plus 7 or 7 plus q, but the q plus 7 in this case follows the wording a little bit more. 7 more means the 7 is being added, and it's being added to the q. Okay, well, let's look at another way of indicating that we've got some addition going on. Here again, the sum of n and 5 is equal to 11, and is equal to can, of course, be replaced with the word equals, so we know exactly where the equal sign goes. What's to the right of it? 11. What's to the left of it? Well, sum, of course, is the word in math that means add, so we know we're adding n and 5. Well, simply add n and 5, n plus 5. That's to the left of the equals, so it's the left side of the equation. The 11's to the right side, so it's not difficult to do these. Okay, next up. 10 less than n is 8. Okay, first off, what can we replace with equals? Well, you see this is right here. If I replace that with equals, it would read 10 less than n equals 8, which means exactly the same thing. So that being the case, this is where the equal sign goes. What's on the right side? The 8. What's on the left side? 10 less than n. Now, be careful here. Less than means subtract, and remember, there's only one word in subtraction where you can assume correct left to right order. That's the word difference. Well, this is not difference. So we must carefully determine what is being subtracted. Well, we want to be 10 less. That means that we got to subtract the 10. That being the case, since the 10 is being subtracted, it has to follow the minus sign. Whatever's being subtracted has to follow the minus sign. What are we subtracting it from? The n. So the only correct way this could be written, n minus 10 equals 8. Now, of course, if we bump into the word difference, then we can assume correct left to right order. But the first thing here is we've got to notice what wording can be replaced with equals, and of course the giveaway here is equal to. Okay, so we could replace this with equals and read this as the difference of n and 19 equals 14. That means exactly the same. So this is where the equal sign goes. What's to the right of the word equals? 14. That goes to the right of the equal sign. Now, what's to the left? The difference of n and 19. Okay, here we are. Difference, of course, means subtract, but it is the special word where we assume correct left to right order. And as I've mentioned to you before, if you ever use the word difference in words in a problem, you have to give the following values in correct left to right order, because that's exactly what folks are going to assume. So, the guy on the left, the n, is subtracted from the guy on the right, or I should say the minus sign goes in between. This will be n minus 19. We assume correct left to right order. Here it is, n minus 19. And difference, of course, the only word in subtraction where you assume the words or the numbers are given in correct left to right order. So we'd go n minus 19. Okay, well, moving on to other math operations here. Our next stop, again, we see we've got is equal to, which we can replace with the word equals. And we have the product of v and 9 equals 50, which is the same as the original wording. Product, of course, we know means multiply, so we'll get to that in a moment. But first, here's our equal sign where the word equals is. What's to the right of the word equals? 50, so that goes to the right of our equal sign. What's to the left of this? The product of v and 9, so we have to multiply these two together. Now again, multiplication can be written in either order. It doesn't matter. You can multiply two numbers together in either order and you get the same value. So we're multiplying the v and the 9, and the normal things that folks do is they write the number in front of the letter, so we'll follow that here. The 9 and the v next to each other mean multiply, so 9v equals 50. Okay, how can we indicate division? Well, here's an example. N divided by 3 is equal to 11. Again, we can tell this is an equation because we've got words here which can be replaced with equals. So we know there's an equal sign here. If we read this n divided by 3 equals 11, it would mean exactly the same thing. So again, this is where the equal sign goes. What's to the right of the word equals as we've written it here? 11, so that goes to the right in the equation. What's on the left here? Well, n divided by 3. No question, this is division, divided by. And what are we dividing by? Well, and no question that either. We're dividing by 3. So remember, division you have to be careful with, just like subtraction. Whatever you're dividing by has to follow the division sign. So here we go. I'll make the division sign. We put the 3 in here. And what goes out in front? Well, what goes out in front is what's left here, the n. So we've got n divided by 3. Again, we're dividing by 3, so it must follow the division sign. Here it is. Now, of course, you recall that there is a special word for division, just like that special word difference in subtraction, where you assume correct left to right order. Well, here's our last example. The quotient of n and 2 is 38. Well, here's the is. And again, it can be replaced with equals, and it will not change the meaning of what we're talking about here. The quotient of n and 2 equals 38 means exactly the same thing. So the equal sign goes here. What's to the right of the equal sign? 38. What's to the left? Well, the quotient of n and 2. Quotient, of course, means division. Okay, but it is the special word where we assume correct left to right order. So as we go on, this guy's on the left and the 2 here is on the right. Okay, well, the guy that you bump into first, that's to the left, the n has to go on the left in the division problem. Here's the division sign, and the guy to the right has to go to the right. That's the 2. So again, only because of the word quotient in division can we assume correct left to right order. In all other ways of indicating division, we would have to figure out what we're dividing by, and that would have to go behind the division sign.